as my definition for work has extended way beyond my day job or the primary thing I do for money, that's led me to prioritize self-care, not because I should, but because this is just who I am now. I want to explain what this means. So for the past decade, I have been saying things like, oh, I should prioritize health and self-care, but all of that goes out the window when I have work that I need to complete. Usually it's when other people are depending on me, or I perceive that other people are depending on me, whether that's coworkers, stakeholders, my clients. When I feel any sense of pressure, even if it's all in my head, especially if it's all in my head, I have a tendency to, in the moment, say, I'll just push through, like just 5 more minutes of doing this. I'm just going to push through, and then I'll rest, and then I'll recover, and then I'll focus on my energy. It's just one time. Of course, it's never just one time. But this past year, as I've been seriously considering starting a family, I realized that this isn't this like up and down kind of thing where I push myself through and work really hard and then kind of burn out and then do the self-care stuff and get myself back up on the energy spectrum. This up and down thing, I can't do it. I can't sustain that if I have a family. As a matter of fact, I'm already unable to really sustain that right now. And so, when I think about it, right, when you have a family, and I've interviewed a lot of parents at this point, is that you can't fake energy. You can't fake presence. You can't fake mental clarity. This isn't something you can fake it until you make it kind of thing. You have to develop, at least my belief is you have to develop that habits ahead of time. Doesn't mean like you can't change afterwards, but it's so much easier if you already developed a habit of managing and understanding and managing your energy and your psychology and your presence. So that was a huge wake up call for me. And that happened like a couple months ago. And then I was saying I'm going to prioritize health and self-care. And what occurred to me was that in the past, when I said I need to prioritize health and self-care, I always said it after I was burnt out already. And of course, at that point, it's an emergency. Yes, I have to prioritize self-care now. But this time I decided I prioritize health and self-care all day, like every single day, not just when I'm burnt out, but even when I'm feeling great. When I'm feeling great, I still get to say I prioritize health and self-care, and I want to manage my energy. And I'm not going to just remember it when I'm burnt out. I remember it every single day. So I started treating it like a priority, and I put it in my schedule. I had little tally marks for myself that I do every day, so I can track my streaks for how often I do the certain self-care activities that I had planned for myself. And in the past, when I tried to prioritize self-care, it felt frivolous, like resting and playing just felt like second citizens to work, as though if I were playing or resting or doing self-care, I was taking away time from my work. It was like work was always the first class citizen. Now I knew I had this limiting belief. I have subconscious patterns that prioritizes work above all else. It's something that I intend to work through, and I know that takes time. And so instead of just trying to strong arm my brain into believing that play and rest get to be as important as work, which I do believe, but sometimes I'm not, if I haven't internalized it in the moment, I'm going to forget. I decided, why not level the playing field and say self-care is work? Why not? Why not say that? If my brain thinks work equals important, because that's apparently how it defines it right now, then I'm going to say, fine, self-care gets to be work too. And then everything clicked. It has been work for me. It's work to try to change your habits. It's work. Self-care is work for someone who isn't used to doing it. And work doesn't mean stress. Work can be fun. As a matter of fact, I believe the reason why I like to work so much is because it's fun. It's fun at some point, right? And now I have these two things. I have, my day job, or the thing I do for money right now, right? And then I have self-care or working on myself, self-investment, whatever you call it, right? Now that they're on the same playing field, who says that working on my self-care means I'm taking time away from my day job? What if, why don't I say putting too much time into my day job is taking away from my self-care? why don't I say that? And I'm like, why don't I say that? I had the relationship backwards. And now when I do something, I ask myself, is this taking away from my self care? Or sometimes I'll say, is this taking away from my energy? Or is this taking away from my clarity? So over the past months, I had work with two great coaches, Paul from Think Boundless, and he provided me the logical lens and questioned me on what is my actual definition of work. And then Amanda from Science and Magic, which provided a more emotional, spiritual based lens, which helped me zoom out to see the greater cause and effect and help me of everything I do and how they interact with each other, how my self-care interacts with my work and vice versa, and help me restructure my perspective of all of these things. So, for instance, instead of losing time because I am doing a meditation session, I am actually not losing time. I'm just restructuring my day to add something else in that as a whole raises my output, right? The whatever service I'm doing. Losing time implies that the thing you're not doing is more important than what you're choosing to do. So if I say I'm losing, um, if I want to go, if I'm tired and I want to go take a walk rather than continuing working on this email, by saying, oh, I'm losing time on my work, on my email, if I go and take a walk, I'm saying that my rest, my energy, my health is less important than this damn email that I'm writing right now. And that made me so sad when I thought of it that way. It's not walk versus email. It's my health and my energy versus my ego needs of getting this email done on time. Like if I take my walk and come back to it, I'm probably going to write a better email. Actually, I've tested this. I My output is better when I've done the rest thing. So it's not walk versus email, it's self need versus ego need, right? The reason why I feel like I have to finish this email right now is usually an ego need based on fear of like fear that I can't get it done later, or just pride in, oh, I'm checking everything off the list. Now, I do want to make a note that this what I'm saying can get taken too far into the other extreme where you start making excuses for procrastinating. So, I think it's very important to differentiate between procrastinating in order to recharge or zoom out on something versus procrastinating in order to escape. A very quick sign of this for me is that do I feel better or worse after doing the thing? Right? It's like eating nourishing food versus junk food. Like if I procrastinate by watching, random YouTube videos on online for like 2 hours, I actually feel worse afterwards. Like I actually feel a little, like in a way, a little bit more tired, and also just kind of numbed out. Versus if I go for like a 15-minute walk, I feel so much better afterwards. So, and I want to say that procrastination isn't bad. It's the intention behind the procrastination. Again, is it to recharge so you can be more clear headed, or is it to numb out? Now, I realize, and this was the question that Paul Miller from Think Boundless, my other coach, had asked me, which was like, well, how do you actually define work? And as I contemplated on that question, it used to be work is something I do to exchange value. And I realized that I had tied value to only money. And that really narrowed my focus into what counts as work for me. Now, my definition of work has extended way beyond the primary thing I do for money, because value can be so many things. The value I put out in the world can be more than just a service or a product that gets me money. The value I get back from people could be gifts. It could be an idea from other people that lead me to something else that maybe eventually does make money. It could be appreciation. I've gotten ideas that's helped my business that came out of somebody else just saying something completely unrelated. And when you look at the bigger picture of all of these kind of domino effects that happen, it's it drives the point it drove the point in for me that just showing up at my best at my work, my day job, but in all areas of my life has an effect on every other area of my life. The way I show up in my relationships has given me inspiration and ideas and energy to do the work better. I've put off, like the other day, it was like a week ago, I put off writing this email, this newsletter email for Coach Viva, my primary business. And on the last day before this email was scheduled to go out, I was just like, okay, the night before, I was like, I guess I just need to sit at my desk and set a timer and just write this damn email out. That morning when I woke up, for some inexplicable reason, I felt so inspired to write this email and I knew exactly what I wanted to write. And before that, I had done like this like in bed kind of meditation session, and my brain was just in such a state of clarity that these connections started coming in that I didn't get before, and that's where the idea for this email came. And that next morning when I woke up, I was just like, oh, I really want to write this email now. It wasn't because I had to check something off, which is like for pain relief. It was because it felt like an inspired action versus like a pain relief, like an I should kind of action. And I was just like, oh, that's really interesting. Now, if I didn't get that hit, I would have still written the email anyway. But it was one of those things where it made me realize like the act of doing that meditation, calming, like putting myself and get recharging myself a little bit more is actually contributing to my work. And so my work, and so this is what I mean by my work has expanded beyond my day job. I am my work. I am my greatest work. My energy is my greatest work. My energy, my self-care, like maintaining Lucy's psychology, like my physical health, but also my psychology and my emotional health and all of that. That is my greatest piece of work. And so self-care self-care, it changed from a like a thing I have to sacrifice time to do so that I can do my main, work better. It changed from that to this is who I am because I am my work. I am my greatest work. It's like me, my being is my greatest work. Everything else is a downstream effect of me. Everything else that I do, like there's me as work. I am my greatest work is what I mean, right? And then there's the downstream effect, my relationship, right? My family, the future family I'm going to build. That's the downstream effect. My Coach Viva, my primary business. That's the downstream effect. But if I don't do this thing, I'm essentially half-assing everything else down the line. So my definition of work is still an exchange of value, right? But I am that value. My my well-being is that value because what I express when I'm in that state of well-being is is more valuable than when I'm not in that state. And that means caring for my health, my energy, my presence is my most important job. My most important resource is my energy, my health, and my presence. It's like so expensive. And that's another way of saying it that's helped me as somebody who's like really work focused. Things that are expensive are important to me, right? So therefore, my health, my energy, my presence is the most expensive. I ask myself, what is the cost of my presence when I feel my attention being pulled in multiple directions? And that always helps to kind of ground me. So I've started deepening my recovery, what I now call my nourishment routines. And they are my top priority, not because it says so on my calendar, not because there's a checkbox that says I need to check this off, but because without them, I can't show up 100% to anything else. I can't show up 100% to my day job, to writing my content, to thinking clearly, to coaching my Badass Body Boss students, to spending time with my partner, my friends, my coworkers. Like that is a great service, by the way, spending quality time with your partner, your friends, your coworkers, the people around you. Doing my chores, feeding myself. I can't show my best to all these things. And the beauty is all of these things also feed into self-care. There's interconnectivity between all of this. So as I've started to redefine self-care as my greatest work, my day job, my regular work, and my chores and everything else, I realized they all also feed into my self-care. Instead of thinking of work as something I have to do to make money, I now think of my work, my regular day job, as how is this feeding into my self-care? How is this helping my ultimate work, which is working on myself? And well, here's some things I can think of, right? My business teaches me to understand and manage my psychology. It teaches me the psychology of other people, how to communicate and manage and talk to other people, clear thinking, it gives me that creative expression under certain constraints. And most recently, helping me see the difference between what are real constraints in a business versus made up ones. Work has been such a great tool. I just real like my regular work I realize has been such a great tool for my inner work, my development. It's been such a great tool for helping me understand and manage my psychology, and that actually is self-investment, which is self-care. So can you see how everything ties back into self-care? And because I'm seeing this relationship all go back into self-care, I truly believe and trust now that I do prioritize self-care. I do still backslide once in a while. I'm not a saint, but I'm feeling more like the person that prioritizes self-care because that is my greatest work. Like the dots finally are connecting for me at not at like the logical level, and I'm feeling it viscerally. And I really do need to give a great thank you to my coaches, Amanda Levesque from Science and Magic and Paul Millard from Think Boundless. Again, it's like the spiritual, emotional, and the logical side of thinking about this that's like really put things into perspective for me now. I'll link their stuff in the description below for sure. And I've also had so much support from friends as well. Especially my co-founder Richa, my co-founder of Coach Viva, our company, Richa Prasad, and Angie from Angie Creates. I have a few other friends, Robin and Maria, and actually, in fact, all these people, I'll be interviewing them for my podcast. I've either already interviewed them or I'll be interviewing them soon. I'll, and I hope this makes sense to other people too, because it's really, for me, it's really been a transformational experience, and I do feel like a different person. Again, I do slip once in a while, but the slipping feels like the exception now rather than the rule, if that makes sense. And before I do have a very exciting announcement that I forgot about. So a few weeks ago, I did a live stream with Amanda Levesque, my coach, who has been helping me with all of this, and we talked about stress resilience and my experience with that and my learnings and the insights from that. I'll link I'll put a link into the live stream below so you guys can go watch it. There was a lot of just in the moment kind of insights that came out that I wouldn't have thought to share myself. So I highly recommend watching it if stress resilience, especially around work and having more recovery time at work, is something that you struggle with, especially if it's something like that your brain struggles to believe is important, even if quote know it's important. And this coming Tuesday, I'll be doing another live stream. I'll also link um, to that upcoming live stream. Again, that's going to be on Tuesday. And okay, thanks for joining. I think that's all I wanted to get out today. Have a good rest of the day, and until next time, bye.